Hello and welcome to this critique, where we are reviewing a script analyzing Matt Walsh's defense of Erica Kirk against Candace Owens, framing the feud through moral decay and anti-Semitism.
Yeah, let's jump right into it.
The script attempts to link the specific harassment of a widow to the broader concept of anti-Semitism, but the connection currently relies on emotive assertion rather than logical sequencing.
Right. That's the first big hurdle I noticed when reading through the material.
Jumping immediately from the Holocaust and 6 million Jews to a YouTube feud, it feels really jarring.
And honestly, potentially exploitative of the tragedy of the Holocaust itself.
It definitely risks trivializing the historical weight of anti-Semitism.
By using it merely as an intro hook for contemporary influencer drama? Yeah.
Stated, but not mechanically demonstrated.
Which basically leaves the listener to bridge a massive gap between genocide and internet gossip.
And that's a leap most people just aren't going to make on their own.
No, they'll just feel alienated right off the bat.
So, the suggestion here is to focus on the mechanism of scapegoating and conspiratorial thinking as the connective tissue.
Focus on the structure rather than just the emotion of hate.
Yes, exactly. For a concrete example, instead of opening with the Holocaust, you could start with the psychology of the universal scapegoat.
Oh, I like that. Explain how the mindset that blames Jews for societal ills is the exact same structural mindset that blames a grieving widow for her husband's death.
Without evidence, of course.
Right, without any evidence. You could even ask the listener directly, how does the structure of the lie against Erica mirror the structure of blood libel?
That's a fantastic angle. It gets them thinking analytically.
And regarding that line, what starts with the Jews never ends with the Jews, we need to refine that too.
Change it to a much more specific argument.
Like how societies that tolerate unverified conspiracy theories against one group inevitably turn those weapons against individuals.
That completely changes the framing from just an emotional appeal to a really solid logical argument.
It makes the comparison earned rather than just stated.
Moving to the next point, the script cedes too much authority to the clips of Matt Walsh and Glenn Beck, resulting in the host acting more as a curator than a commentator.
I mean, I noticed that immediately. The longest, most substantive arguments regarding the lack of evidence are all delivered by Matt Walsh clips.
Well, the host's voice is sort of relegated to the sidelines, just doing moral outrage.
Right, saying things like it's sick or it's evil, while outsourcing the intellectual heavy lifting to the clips.
Which makes the host's argument feel really repetitive.
Because they simply affirm Walsh rather than expanding on it.
They're just agreeing. So the suggestion here is to summarize the factual rebuttal in the host's own voice to establish authority.
And reserve those external clips for emotional punch or specific rhetorical flair.
Exactly. A concrete example would be, instead of playing the full Walsh clip detailing why unverified tips aren't evidence, the host should list the specific lack of evidence themselves.
Just say it outright. Like Walsh rightly points out that innuendo is not indictment.
Yeah, take ownership of the facts. And then you use a shorter, sharper Walsh clip, like the one about the morbidly absurd lose-lose situation, to punctuate the point.
That way, the host is driving the narrative.
You could also add a unique angle that isn't found in the clips at all.
Like analyzing the specific social media dynamics at play.
Or the economy of outrage that fuels Candace Owens.
That would add tremendous value beyond what Walsh and Beck have already said.
It shows the listener that the host is bringing their own expertise to the table.
Which builds trust.
And looking at the language itself, the repetitive use of absolute moral condemnation creates a numbing effect that may alienate listeners who haven't yet picked a side.
Yeah, the script leans so heavily on words like evil and sick and rot.
Horrifically bad. But using the ultimate superlative, like evil, for every aspect, flattens the critique entirely.
Everything is evil. The word just loses its descriptive power.
It paints the opposition as cartoon villains rather than calculating media operators.
Which is definitely less convincing to a skeptic who might be tuning in.
So the suggestion is to vary the vocabulary to describe the nature of the behavior.
Ask yourself, is it predatory? Is it voyeuristic?
Is it opportunistic? Focus on the mechanics of the behavior rather than just the morality of it.
Give us some concrete examples of how to swap those out.
Sure. Replace the third instance of "this is sick" with something like "this is a commodification of grief."
Oh, commodification of grief. That is so much stronger.
Because it describes exactly what's happening.
And instead of calling the Twitter critics evil, describe their behavior as performative forensic analysis.
Or hyper-scrutiny for engagement.
That really captures the bizarre true crime obsession aspect of it.
I also think using the bridal metaphor from her series title is a great move.
Oh, right, the Bride of Charlie. Use that to contrast with the biblical mandate to protect widows.
Highlighting the sacrilege of it all, rather than just repeatedly saying it is bad.
It uses their own framing against them. That's very effective.
Finally, the pivot from the emotional climax of the commentary to the promotional segment for the Great Reversal is currently abrupt and creates tonal whiplash.
It really does. The script moves from a high-stakes spiritual warning about destroying your own soul to a casual, just hang on for a moment.
Click the link below.
Right, it completely undercuts the gravity of the previous section,
It feels like a commercial break interrupting a sermon.
which risks making the preceding moral outrage feel transactionally motivated.
Like the whole video was just an excuse to run the ad.
Exact.
The suggestion here is to weave the promo into the thematic conclusion so the documentary feels like the solution to the problem just discussed.
Rather than a separate, unrelated product shoved in at the end.
Right. So, for concrete examples, utilize the reversal theme earlier in the script.
The promo mentions the deliberate reversal of cause and effect.
So the host should explicitly label the attacks on Erica as a reversal before the promo even starts.
Call it blaming the victim. Plant that seed early.
And for transitional phrasing, instead of just hang on a moment, try something much smoother.
Something like, this tactic of flipping the victim and the aggressor isn't unique to this feud.
It is the exact same weapon used against Israel for decades, which is why we produced this documentary.
Frame the documentary as a tool for the listener to learn to spot the lie.
Connecting the skills needed to defend Erica Kirk with the skills needed to understand the Israel-Palestine conflict.
That integrates the call to action seamlessly. It feels necessary rather than intrusive.
It really elevates the whole piece. So, to quickly recap the main actionable feedback.
First, establish a logical bridge between anti-Semitism and the specific topic, instead of relying on emotional leaps.
Second, take ownership of the factual arguments yourself rather than relying too heavily on external clips.
Third, sharpen the vocabulary to describe the behavior, moving beyond generic moral condemnation.
And lastly, integrate the call to action seamlessly into the thematic narrative so it feels like a solution.
We would absolutely love to see how you refine this piece.
Please apply these edits and submit your work again for a follow-up critique.
Thanks for sharing your writing with us.
Catch you next time.